podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle and triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth. Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you share, like, and subscribe. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Changes in their personal and professional lives. Following her heart, 9 years later, she is an expert in her field and is here to talk about the importance of trusting yourself and going for it. Welcome, Geeta.
Thank you so much for your all generous words and kind words, Sabrina. I feel honored to be on your platform and sharing this with lovely women, because it's very important to get your message out and how all my struggles of being, like you said, not looking at my pocket and following my passions. I did struggle for long years, to overcome that factor, like, okay, and what am I doing, literally in the logical world. They would say, why would you do that, but then I realized, like you said, the passion, it wasn't a passion, it was such a beautiful journey, the whole process of becoming who you are and just being very authentic of who you really are, and how you're presenting yourself and your message to the world. So that was a really good learning for me. And like I so many times I tell people, especially the young, smart, professional, non-professional woman, any woman or from any walks of life, like you need to understand yourself much better. That's what the whole journey is all about. And to take it a little further, like I was born and brought up in India, and as we all know, what India is known for, basically, it's more so like for its spirituality and the place of yoga, the origin of yoga, and things like that, right? So and I was quite familiar with those terms as well. But then in India, it's a very basic learning, like you have to become something, like in the world of pocket. I would keep using that. So you have to earn your degrees, and I did my pharmacy, I did all that. I moved here, I got married to a wonderful person, and then when I moved here, everything was fine, everything was going very smoothly, like everybody else. Like, you are married, you have a great job, you are earning well, you are going, you're following a very mechanical life, getting up in the morning, going to labs, doing your stuff, writing inventions, people are just applauding you, wow, what great brains you have, things like that. So, and you do get carried away. Yes,
Yeah.
you do. And I'll be talking in details when I became emotional intelligence coach, and how I everything came to such a great knowing that what I was doing and what I'm doing right now. So I really got flowed with all those applauds and things and doing the regular stuff. I kept doing it for 12 years, little bit around 12 years. And I was happy, to be honest with you, happy in a sense, like how the world wants to look at me, right?
Yeah.
So I had two beautiful boys, children, everything was on track and everything. But then somebody I met that time, and she was such a learned person, in a sense of wisdom, She told me, you could be much more than you can think of. And she told me, you'll be a writer. And I was looking at her. I said, wow, I'm sitting in my boardroom with conference and I'm talking about my knowledge of so-called analytical world. And she's telling me, yeah, you could be more. And I said, okay, fine. But I just laughed it off. But like I said, sometimes the life would show you things are, either you can take them or leave them. But as I was that time, I left it there. I
Yeah.
said, okay, probably, I don't know what is she talking about. She's into a different world. She's not talking about like the data I'm showing her, and she's into a different world. So she said you could impact people and things like that. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, okay. We'll talk later. Let's meet somewhere.
Yeah.
It was like such a crazy thing. And she was my senior and she was so much more. And then I left it there. Everything was going again as so. It happened so that I followed my passion. Now I'll be talking about to women about passion. What passion is really, because people get confused. So usually in my workshops and my webinars, I talk about 3 P's.
Okay.
Now, what are 3 P's? It's your passion, it's your pleasures, and it's your purpose, and how they're different and how they're interconnected.
Wow.
So, let me talk about the pleasures. So, pleasures, you have plenty of them. Like you love coffee. Like, let me ask you this, Sabrina. What do you really like the most?
Kombucha.
All right, great.
I
So
was
that,
thinking of drinks,
yeah,
so
right.
the coffee. So I
Yeah,
love kombucha. Yeah.
yeah. So you love kombucha. So that's your pleasure.
Yeah.
So you can have as many pleasures in your life as you want, and they keep changing as you progress in your years, and what you do, like what you like when you were 15 and what you like now. It's such so much of difference over there. And it's good that your pleasures keep changing. You're not stuck to the same boundaries of it. So that those are your pleasures. You can have one, you can have 10, you can have 100, and so on, and it's number. But let's talk about your passions.
Okay.
So, to everybody, to all your viewers, passion is something which is just you have to count handful one, two, and three. That's it. You cannot change your passions. Yeah, correct. You're born with them. That's your blueprint. That's in your DNA. That's who you are, literally. So people get confused when I talk to them about their passions because they know my passion is driving, my passion is traveling. I said, are you? Let's just analyze it. Is it your passion or you have picked up from someone? Just because you see the progressive people like to travel, like one of my clients, I was doing a case study with her, and she had picked up like one of her friends. So she used to travel a lot, and she was a successful person, right? So she picked up from her and she made her passion. She doesn't know, I love traveling. But when I did work with her, it came down to that wasn't hers.
Wow.
Yeah. So you end up picking up people's passion onto you, and you don't realize it. Like, I love to dress up, I love cars, I love houses, all those external stuff, because they're so easy to pick up. Or the way she talks, the way she presents, all those things, right?
Yeah.
And as a women, we are quite fragile that way. We have not understood ourselves well.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, it could be our spouses, it could be our friends, it families, or it could be a something which you have picked up from your childhood as well.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So people call them passion, but they are not passion, they are pleasures. So you
Okay.
are liking them and you're doing them in the temporary phases of your life.
Okay. But our passions we're born with.
Correct. You're always born with your passions. For instance, Sabrina, what really, really Sabrina likes, like, let's say you love sitting on the beach, for example. You
I,
just love collecting shells. I mean, and
yeah.
like I had a client who was 70 years old when she realized that something she used to do like 50 years back when she was in her 20s was writing. She could channelize her emotions very well when she used to write, and then after, when she got married, she got disconnected from her passion, and she was living miserably when she came to me because she
Wow.
could not connect herself what was going wrong with her.
Yeah. So
And
we're all born with one, two, or three passions.
yeah,
Real.
nothing more. Yeah. If
Okay.
you say that you have lots and lots of passions, we need to talk about. You're wearing a lot of unnecessary hats on yourself. Are
Yeah.
your hats, are those are your personal, blueprint hats, or they are picked up hats?
Wow. Okay.
So
And then
we
what's the third P?
correct, you know. So, and you know yourself, like for instance, some people like to just for instance, if I ask you, Sabrina, what top three words are coming to you right now when we talk about passions, what would you say?
Creativity,
Yeah.
women,
Mm-hmm.
empire.
Correct, great. So but any of those, how close are those to yourself for your inner being? Like, I'm sure women, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, it's everything.
Clearly
I
it's
could do it
every
all day, every day.
great. So you're describing it, which is like authentic you to you, you know.
Yeah,
I'm not putting words in your mouth. You just said what you said. It just came to your mind, and they were your top three, and you have a clarity with that as well,
yeah,
right? So these are our passions. So since your childhood, when you were like, let's say 15, 10, you might have realized that you were very comfortable with women, or there must have been some inkling with you,
yeah.
but
I've
you
always been the
ignored.
helper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. But you chose to avoid then whatever the circumstances were, but then you were drawn to it somehow through the life,
yes,
and then you chose again. It's your all your choices, and again you chose to go with it.
yes.
So there's so many people when they come in the later part of their lives, or some of them who have, I have clients like doctors, professionals, IT people. They come and they say, I don't know what my passion is. So then we sit down and we do a complete analysis as assessment of it, because you then choose again. I can tell you, I can do that work with you, but do you choose to move forward with it or not? That's your call.
Yeah,
And once, if you have tapped into your passion well, and if you choose to move with it, leads you to your purpose.
got it. Okay.
Absolute 100%. No stones unturned then. I mean, you cannot deny it anymore.
Yes.
You
Okay.
become more fearless. You become who you are. You don't, like you said, like look at you right now. If I would have met you, let's say 10, 15 years back when you were going through it, you would have been a different person.
Yeah, definitely 100%.
Yeah. So, like people like you and me, we chose to move. Like when I had my struggles to understand deviating from the pocket, I would say, salaried or whatever you want to call it, career to moving to this. And then it was my choice. So
Yeah,
that I overcome my fears about it and overcome the programming of the people, of the society, and then move with my passion.
definitely. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so these are the things we have to look into deeply. And we, during my work with people, especially with women, I've realized it's very unfortunate how many stories we pick up during our lifetime, and we want to stick to them.
Yeah.
So, making the whole thing short, then I was here. Then my first struggling when somebody told me I could be an author, I said, okay, yeah, sure, I'll try one day. But that time I wrote a book when I had opened my shop and I was doing little crystals and things. But then I realized that this is something which is giving me that kind of fulfillment, which that 9 to 5 job could not.
Yeah.
And the people were gravitating towards me, like talking about their issues and things like that. And I said, what is going on with me?
Yeah.
Why I'm getting that kind of compliment, that okay, can I come to you for advice or for so and so and things like that. So they were had started building on me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And during that time, I was started to realize, okay, something more to it is, and let me, being analytical mind and being a former scientist, I have to now do my research, right?
Yeah.
How good we are.
Yes.
We all do that, right? So
Yes.
let me do my research, let me take out my pen paper, let me see what's going on, let me analyze it, what's happening with me.
That's awesome.
And then slowly and gradually, I few people came in, and then I said I'll give it a shot. And after that, it became very big, and I started to realize that people, they need more from me, but not as a pharmacist or as a scientist, but probably like this, which would, I mean, with the support of my family, which would give me some kind of fulfillment of my life, and so to say, purpose.
Yes. Yes, that's
I,
awesome. I love that. I love that. In your journey, to get to where you were to where you are, I'm sure that you have been through some challenges mentally, emotionally, physically. When you
Mhm.
think back, what was maybe one of the biggest challenges that you went through, and what did you learn from it?
Okay. So I think if I look back, so the number one was where I had moved to a different state. I was not getting, like, there were not pharmacy jobs over there. The R&D I'm talking about, not the regular pharmacy jobs, because I'm from the R&D part of the. So I got a little couple of years to sit back and see, to do, what I want to do, right? So I was not finding any job there. So I got a 2 years of kind of a, I would say, introspection. Like, okay, I'm home. I'm not finding any job which is close to my home where I can pick and drop my kids off to school. I mean, to the convenience of how I was looking at it.
Yeah.
And then I dwelt back into my passion for some time, because um, I had this passion of collecting crystals a lot, like gemstones, basically, from being from India. So I had access to like beautiful gemstones. So I started collecting them. And more so, my friends used to come to me. They said, "Why don't you sell it as well?" And I thought, because people don't have a knowledge of them, so I could sell them as well. So that led to me opening up a little bit of shop, since I was not finding a job of my choice. And my husband, we were doing quite well, so we didn't need to, like, clearly, just leave boys at school and not go 1 hour drive and do my job. So I was not ready to do all that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So we decided, you take your time till you find a good job, the job you like, and you want to go ahead with it. So it happens to see how the life was showing me different things, right? So
Yeah.
I started doing my shows, and people started coming. For instance, a stone like labradorite, because I knew the scientific, the metaphysical part of it, because being a scientist, I knew the chemical properties, the heart properties, what it is used for, and how you can wear it, and what you can use it for, something like that.
Okay.
Nothing more, because
Okay.
that was, I used to do it when I was young. And so that led me to one afternoon. I just call up a place and I say, "Oh, well, can I open up a shop there?" My husband's, "Are you okay with that? You want to become an entrepreneur now?" So it's just, okay. It's going to be a deviation from your what you were doing. I said, "Let's try me out till I find my job." You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And I happened to open up a shop, and then only for a couple of years, nothing more. Just got a little bit of entrepreneur skills, like juicing up over there with creativity. And then the book came, my first book, which I wrote it with a gentleman called Dr. I don't know whether you've heard Dr. Joe Vitale, who's
I
from
haven't
Finland.
heard of it, but I did see it on your website, I
Okay.
think. Yeah.
So I got an opportunity to be interviewed by some of his team and selected for doing a book with him. Since it was such a interesting for him to see, like, a scientist becoming an entrepreneur is such a, like, a different career change, and the presentation skills and things like that. So I wrote my first book, but I had no idea what I'm doing, to be honest with you, Sabrina. Again, the life was showing me all the little nudges. I was picking them, but they were challenging, and I said, what am I doing? So I closed my shop in 2 years, and it happened, so we moved to another state. And then I said, during that time, people started coming to me, like one of my friend, actually, she gave me a very good advice, to be honest with you. She had called me over for lunch to her place, and she told me, you have a very coach like something to your personality. You're very
Yeah.
good in advising, and the way you talk, you're very compassionate and yet dissociated with the person, and very objective at the same time. So she gave me very good advice at that time.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I didn't know what coach was, because what I was thinking, I will just close down everything and go back to my R&D, which I love,
Yeah.
which I thought I love.
Yeah.
Correct. So
Yeah.
that was so interesting, and I did get a job offer in between. I said, "Wow, that's it." I enjoyed a couple of years. I did what I wanted to do, stayed home, and took care of my family. But I found a job, and then why don't I just go back now?
Yeah.
During that time, so much has happened that I seriously started to be honest with you, see that I could touch people's life,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
And for me, the struggle was, like you asked me, the challenge was, again, going back to that such a mechanical box, very structured work at lab. So, something had changed in me, shifted in me that time, which I didn't realize. So I said, okay, let me go. But, I was not enjoying my job anymore,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And then it happened. So we moved to another state because of my husband's work. And again, that state had no pharmacy jobs, no pharmaceutical R&D jobs, like where we are right now in Florida. This place has no other jobs, let alone the R&D or any pharmaceutical company. So this was the place when I really dived into, my friends are saying something. I had started acknowledging things. So my challenges were to really do leave that alone completely.
Mhm.
Major struggle I had, to be honest with you. And because see, something has shifted in you, but you are still living in this world, right? You're
Yeah.
still have to pay your bills. You still have to do what you're supposed to do. You still are a mother, a wife, or whatever the labels you have.
Yeah.
And if I can use that, that was few years in my life where I had really emotionally struggled. How would people perceive me, and what would say, what is, why did you do that? How would they react to it?
Yeah.
But then I had this wonderful thing which kept me going, because I didn't stop on the weekends inviting people in, like for the advices, and do whatever I was supposed to do. And some of my lady, most of them are my lady customers, that time, like one family changed my whole perspective, because the three ladies of different generations from the same family came to me.
Okay. Wow.
You see that?
Yeah.
That was, um, with the right word I would use, impact. I saw that it was happening.
Yeah.
People coming to my husband and telling him, your wife has a gift. So my family was also acknowledging the shift now.
Yeah.
As a
Yeah.
family, something was going on.
Yeah.
This lady I'm talking about from three generations had a major influence to for me to overcome my struggles of emotional, like kind of struggle. Would not use the word emotional so much. It was more of a conflict. It was in my mind, when now I know what that was.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, the daughter, the mother, and the grandmother are coming to me,
Mhm.
all the same family, but I was able to do it.
That's awesome.
And the
Wow.
blind faith they had in me that I will pull them through, which I eventually did.
Yes. Wow.
So, like I said, so that time, and I used to tell my husband, by the way, off and on, like, okay, should I do this? Should I go back? They're giving you money. This, he said, no, don't worry. If you want to do it, go ahead and try it out.
Yeah.
And then that was a time after this. See, this was external validation again, right?
Yeah.
So right now, still, I was not listening to myself. I was like, okay, wow, I could do this also. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
explain to it. Like, once you get into the emotional part of it and understanding what emotional intelligence is and how you can, or a leadership is, then you integrate all these parts of yours.
Yeah.
That
Definitely.
was the biggest challenge. And then with the support, with still going ups and downs, should I, shouldn't I, should I, all those years, and eventually overcoming them.
Yep.
And this is where I'm at. So that was my biggest challenge. Those 4 years were like quite emotionally, I would say, they had took a toll on me that time,
Yeah. And you took the leap.
and I took the leap. Yes,
Yeah.
because see, again, the like I was telling, the external validation I got.
Yeah.
Still, I was not there yet to understand that I can pull it off. No
Yeah.
worries. So
Definitely.
yeah, so that was the major one.
Definitely. For people who are listening, who are maybe not familiar with personal growth or personal development,
Hmm.
what would you say to people like that? Why is it important? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And self esteem is very external. If I get house of X amount, I'm going to feel good about it.
Okay.
If I get a job of XXX salary,
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay. So it has an external factor and which helps you to build your esteem, which is just a conscious level.
Okay.
And you need a validation always. You see?
The esteem needs validation,
Correct. But self-worth,
external validation.
right. But self-worth is just you know it. So when you are on persuade, like you are right now, persuade to follow your passion, do you need my validation right now, Sabrina?
No. Got it.
You have realized it.
Yeah.
Do I need to tell you, Sabrina, how beautiful you are?
No.
Occasionally I can. You will accept it too. But
Yeah.
that
So
will not. Mhm.
so can my self-esteem hinder my self-worth?
Yes.
Okay.
Because when you're operating from your self esteem, you're always looking externally for some kind of validations.
Got it. So how does somebody put a line and definitively say my self-worth is mine,
Mhm.
it has nothing to do with
Mhm.
external? How does somebody do that?
So there could be so many different factors, added to that. Number one, like for instance, let's say somebody who is working, they are still adding their value to the job they have, to the company they have, right?
Yeah.
As professional.
Yeah.
Right. And are they conscious enough? This is the kind of contribution they want to give it to the community, and they're having, they don't need anything more than that. There are people like that as well. So they have not tapped into the self awareness we talk about in emotional intelligence. They have just tapped into the kind of self worth which was shown to them, and they relate to that. Not that it is like I would not say it is like some kind of going to hinder, because it hinders your understanding of your self-esteem and self-worth. Definitely, it's a thin line, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how they want to see. Because self-esteem is like all external.
Yes.
So that is the problem they have. Otherwise, they would always think, okay, I have a good job, this, and that checkpoints all the your usual routine and the life has to offer you, and you're okay with it.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about the emotional intelligence, the understanding of integration of all your parts, where you do know that your self worth is equal to your value you are adding. See, a doctor is also adding a value in people's life. Now, if that doctor is happy with or feels or he or she feels fulfilled with it, it's okay. Right. But if you feel that something is it's not going the way you thought it would be, like you like so many people when they come to me, they have professionals, but they have work-life balance are not working well for them,
Yeah.
especially women, because it's very unfortunate to see women struggling. Oh, I have my kids at home. Oh my gosh, I don't want to do this job. I don't feel good. I don't feel connected to. I'm not doing my family chore, something like that. So they have such imbalance,
Yeah.
and then after that they start to face the relationship struggles with their spouses. Now they have grown in the environment of thinking that if they provide financially to a family should be okay.
Hmm.
That's their worth.
Yeah.
So they are relating it to that.
Got
It
it.
is their self-esteem as well.
Yeah.
Correct. So it is very interesting to see how they're struggling. What they are relating their value to. I got married, I gave you a kid, like how they talk, basically.
Yeah.
How they
Yeah.
how they put across their internal emotions. Like I said, for a mother, she doesn't need a validation. Any mother on this earth, she's a mother, period. Correct. Like you don't have to, if you have a child, you're a mother. And all the mothers feel the same way about their children, right? If you can tell me, right? It's so simple. But when you see, even after doing that, and they're adding self worth to it, that'll going to conflict with their living style.
Wow.
So the self-awareness itself is such a beautiful, it's a huge thing to understand. It's just using this word, the word self-awareness, and just getting some yoga mat, going to yoga studios won't work for you.
Yeah.
There's some
Neat.
people used to come to me, they say, oh my God, I've been doing yoga meditations for so long, but I have not been able to tap into who truly I am, and that's where it lies.
Got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That totally makes sense 100%. Individuals who are thinking about personal development, they're here, they're listening,
Mm-hmm.
they're getting pulled, they're like, okay, I get it, I'm open to it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't understand how to get from my darkness, my
Mm-hmm.
struggle
Mm-hmm.
to the light. What am I supposed to do first?
Okay.
What's the first step? In your experience, in your journey,
Mm-hmm.
what were like the first one, two, threes that you took to go from one to the other?
Okay. All right. Um, so I would call it at my three A's. So let me explain one by one.
Okay.
So number one was the hardest of all, which was just acknowledgement of it. So when you see you have it all syndrome, I
Mhm.
have, and you don't know how to be in it. Be means the being. Then you have to acknowledge it first, right? So acknowledgement of it, it might take a year for you, it might take 5 days, or it might take 20 years. It's up to you. It's your, again, it's how you look at it, or you need a, like, somebody to help you out, then of course we are there for that. But it's like acknowledgement of it, just, okay, something is shifting in me. What is it?
Yeah.
You know? And I want you to literally go through that process. And if, like, for me, it was more so because being a scientist, I could write down my notes and see how it is working out for me. But if you don't want to do that, at least do something back. You can always see what you had started your journey with, because you should always enjoy the process of it, not the destination where it's taking you.
Definitely.
Right. So if you can do that, that's a great practice. Just do something, just write down, like, how and why are you feeling the way you are feeling.
Yeah.
Why is it? Acknowledge it. So don't reject it, number one. Right. So for that, you have to be in very receptive mode. Now, why I talk about receptive mode, it's a very scientific term as well. Um, because if you're not ready to receive the knowledge, because since I was working in lab for such a long time, so I knew how to take the information and process it, right? So
Yeah.
if you're not able to do that, so the simplest way is just to take it down, right? Just write it down, channelize it on the paper, right?
Yeah.
Make it that is like it make it, it's very personal to you, it's a very blueprint of you. So that's the first thing, just acknowledgement. And just keep doing it. Please don't stop, because I tell people, be consistent. You don't have to stop somewhere. It's you. It's about you. You know
Yeah.
how unique you are, how what kind of unique blueprint you're carrying. You don't know.
Yeah.
And all the great scientists, by the way, whether it's Andrew Hoffman, it's Bruce Lipton, like neuroscientists, they
Yeah.
talk about this. And more so, where I come from, India, the gurus used to talk about it. Your mind,
Yes.
and how you can, like all the Vedas. I would not call it knowledge, it's a wisdom. And scientifically, it is known as emotional intelligence or neuroscience. That's it. And but the spirituality and science is so much interconnected.
Yes.
It is so fascinating to see that.
Yes.
Right? So I
Definitely.
would strongly advise those people, just acknowledge it. Number two is adopt it. Now, people would say, why that word adopt? Uh, why not any other word? I would say in my book also I wrote about it. Adopt has such a nurturing feeling to it. Like being a woman, we are all very familiar with it,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So we are, if I say adopt, it's like first thing comes to your mind is a child and you're just, embracing and hugging them. So you have to be very gentle about it, right?
Yeah.
So it's adopt, adopt,
Embracing and
embrace
hugging
it.
them.
Okay, wow. Okay, I could. Like somebody went told
So
me
you
I
have
could
to be
be an
very
author,
gentle about
and I
it,
said,
right?
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's adopt, adopt, embrace it. Okay, wow. Okay, I could. Like somebody went told me I could be what they knew, what I didn't.
Wow.
And I could like tell my message and how it could impact other people's in the positive way.
Yeah.
So second is adopted because adoption has such a positive connotation of word.
Yeah. It's loving.
It's loving, it's nurturing,
Yeah.
right? So first, if you have done your acknowledgement, which is going to be the most the I would say the longest or the shortest, for it depends how you are, part of you, and then next step would be adoption. The third would be the most I think important one, is approval. Now you see, wow, you have done it.
Okay.
And a scientist would always see that too. For in me, I have a scientist as well, right? I tried to struggle with it, I adopted it, now I see, okay, now I'm getting results, because
Yes.
my scientist part is always up, right? So I cannot leave my logical behind mind somewhere.
Yes.
So when I started doing it, practicing it, and people started coming in and they got the value from it, so I said, okay, now you are getting approved. Still an external word, from the external validation, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
And the approval comes when you've started taking the action now, right? Like
Yeah.
that, the family I was telling you about that changed my
That's true.
mind.
You can't get the approval unless you take the action.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
That is
I
a
like
very
that.
powerful understanding, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And mind you, everybody, please, you have to be logical as well. Be assertive. Have a
Yeah.
balanced mind. Don't just go one way or the other. Have a perspective about it, but have a balanced mind. Like I said, you have to embrace it in a way that you are not, you know, completely tilting over one side.
Hmm.
Like I said, before approval, like action you said, I had to take actions to know whether if this is the direction I'm trying to pursue it.
Yeah.
Be very careful, like because people come, they just leave everything sometimes and they just don't do anything about it. No, you have to be very mindful. And mindful literally means, in any sense, that your both sides, the logical mind, which is like left side of your brain, and your right side of your brain, which is creativity, are balanced. Then you're talking a different sense when you've integrated both of them.
Yes.
So do see, like if you are planning to do something in your life, do see, try it out and see how it is changing you and other people. Just don't do it blindly. Do your research well. So the acknowledgement was also research at that time.
Yeah.
And the second phase, like second step, is when you're completely embracing it. You have made up your minds, so to speak.
Yeah.
And third is your approval.
Yes.
And approval from yourself and as well as the world.
I love it. That's
Right?
great.
So these are
Yeah.
the three A's I would tell anybody who's going through any journey. Just write it down and just see how they're working out for you.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. And I love how easy you're making that for us to remember so that as
Thank you.
we're going through life, we
Mhm,
can, easily navigate through that
mhm.
fairly simply. But the first step is figuring it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 Figure it out first.
And that's the difficult one because the world is going to pull you in different directions that in that first stage
Yeah.
acknowledgement, right? But it's okay. You have to go through it.
Yeah. We all
You have
do.
to show your triumph, like you said, over all your fears and understanding of it.
Yeah. And nothing's handed to us. I think that a lot of people get a misconception of anything that's supposed to be ours is just handed to us easily.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's not a thing. You have to dig for it. You have to look for it. You have to search internally, externally
Right.
for,
Right.
the things that when we're looking for our passion.
Right. I think you said it, it's very educational, right? When something is given you, someone has given you the structure, the steps to follow.
I love it.
It's very educational, right?
Yeah.
But what we are talking about is little outside the education.
Yes.
Still, it's a part of education. By the way, I want to clear it to every one of your viewers. We are talking about literally neuroscience here. But how it is put across to you, because what happens when you're following the structured life, very structured. Okay, Sabrina, get up 7 a.m., do 8 a.m., 9 a.m., you're following a routine. Just
Yeah.
look at you would not even get a chance to acknowledge your feelings, your emotions, your behaviors,
Yeah.
which are submerged into your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And they're 90% of there over there. Only 10% is your conscious mind, where you're operating from.
Yes.
But when they come up to the surface, most of them are negative in nature. And unfortunately, you get attached to them.
Yep. Yeah.
And most of the time, when people say they come with the negative thoughts, I say, why are you paying so much of attention to those negative thoughts? They are a distraction, but you have to
Yeah.
learn to look at them in a different way. And then once you start to realize those subconscious nudges, thoughts, your intuition, whatever you want to call it, they start to make sense.
Yep.
And when you're able to understand the whole science behind it, why you're thinking the way you are, what you're planning to do, what you're going to do, with a lot of integrity. Please, I'm putting emphasis on word integrity. You just don't do these things blindly. You want to know things, right? The right way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, not diving completely into the world of spirituality. No, completely understanding yourself, the perspective, like I said, the mind and the subconscious mind, understanding why is it happening to you, and you are full aware of it.
Yeah.
You're not just following it blindly. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Just somebody says. So
Yeah.
you have to do it. Again, if you do that, then again you're following the old patterns of yours.
Yes.
If she's getting a yellow dress, I'll get a yellow dress. Simple. If
Yeah.
she's wearing a black dress, I'll wear a black dress. Then you're following the pattern.
Yeah.
You're again going back to that programming, which subconscious mind of yours loves it, because then it can manipulate you the way it wants.
Definitely.
But once you integrate every part of yours, and then you understand, like, I would not let you, and then you understand it scientifically, then you say, okay, all right, let's talk about it now. What are you trying to say? The negative thoughts no longer remain the negative thoughts. They become into a something where you're observing them. Like a lot of rishis, munis from India, when they used to go on the Himalayas to meditate, they only used to say one thing: become observant, observe, and
Wow.
don't react.
Wow.
Respond, don't react. Respond, don't
That's
react.
awesome. Yeah.
So there's
There's
so
a
much of,
difference. Yeah. There's
yeah,
a
that's
difference.
the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
like
like
that.
I said, it's an interesting, phenomenon scientifically and spiritually, but you must know to strike the balance. That's the key to it.
Yeah. I like what this user's saying in the middle. They're saying these are concepts more and more people
Then you
need
understand it
urgently given the present
scientifically, then you say, okay,
circumstances
especially
globally.
like you said, yeah,
Lovely
absolutely,
discussion.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I think this is especially like you said, if people can understand this, so there would not be any tug of war in a literal sense.
Yeah.
You know? Because if you're embracing your uniqueness, I'm embracing my uniqueness. This lady who just commented embracing her uniqueness.
Yeah.
everybody has a different, unique blueprint.
Yeah.
And, so the stories we talk about, there could be some similarities, but Sabrina is Sabrina, Geeta is Geeta,
Yeah. Our concepts more
you
and
know?
more people need
But they could
urgently
have
given the
similarities,
present
but at the same
circumstances
time,
globally.
they have a unique message to share in their own way, in their own style, if I may say.
Yeah.
You have a different style, I would have a different style.
Yeah.
But let's embrace each other's style and get the message out. That's the key.
That's the key. Yeah, 100%. That's what this platform is all about.
Exactly.
I wanna ask you, what's the number one lesson you've learned from your life?
See, I think the number one, what I had always been is very curious,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
And like I said, the curious mind is a very interesting one because you're trying to know things the way they are, but you're trying to research more, right? So what I'd learned in my pharmacy school about like neuroscience, the neuropathways, the new habits you form, and all those things very scientifically, and rather probably connecting it to the life was the one of the greatest things I could do. But again, I said the curiosity is the lesson which should not be taken far as well. Curiosity in balance is great, right? You should not just do things okay the other person is doing. You have to understand why do you want to do it first.
Yes.
So that was the biggest thing, because once you are into a curious nature, which most of us are, because like so many are attending this right now, the podcast, right? So
Yeah.
they want to know
Yeah.
more. So this is the curious nature you have, but that comes with a caution mind. How is it relating back to you, like again the response to your own story of that
Mhm.
uniqueness,
Yeah.
and how you can balance it when you want to. Just don't let float like that, loosely in the world.
Yeah.
So that's
Definitely.
one of the greatest, I think, the lesson I've learned, that you have to, and for that you need a complete balance of yourself.
Mhm.
Like not let one thing stretch you away in one direction and the other thing stretch you away in another direction. Make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think a lot of individuals, and I'm sure, you deal with this with your clients, is limiting beliefs.
Yes.
I'd love to know what one of your biggest limiting beliefs was, throughout your journey.
Mhm.
And what did you change it to? What do you believe now?
Like I said,
So,
I was one of my limiting beliefs was that I could do this, but not
energies,
this, if I can say that, right? So when I was doing one thing, I was only probably channelizing all my energies, if I can say that, into one direction,
yeah.
and I was boxing myself into those boundaries. So I think the open-mindedness, like in my first book I said, the one of the things you could do is become open-mindedness,
Mhm.
at least see what it is, and then you try to understand, is it for you or not?
Yeah.
Like for I said, when the for instance, I tell you how, when the life was showing me you could do this, you could become an entrepreneur, you can help out people, you can help out women, I was not completely honest to myself. I was doing it, but I
Mhm.
was not honest. I was not, I would say I was not, I was thinking, no, no, this is not for me. I was rejecting it a lot,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
In fact, one time I remember when I joined a women's club, and they had called me. It was like long time back, 9 years, and I spoke on it because since the scientific knowledge I could give very easily, mind and neuropathways, and talking about neuroplasticity and all those things, the big big words, kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
So they were very comfortable to me, and I said, "Yeah, why people are not getting it? Oh, what am I saying?" So, and that time I was so much into that, literally, to be honest,
Yeah.
and I said, okay, this is what the life is, but I was not ready to open up. Make sense?
Yeah.
But please, one of the limiting beliefs, but when one of the really good, I would say, mentor came, and I spoke about it, and then I realized as a coach, my own coach, when they told me, like, you can wear a couple of hats, and some hats are very close to you.
Mhm.
You can be a scientist, you are a mother,
Mhm.
you are a spouse, whatever you want to name. So these are all different hats we are all wearing.
Yeah.
And one hat could be of something which is very close to you,
Mhm.
your passion, your purpose. So I would encourage a lot of ladies, like, wear different hats if you can.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's okay to wear, sometimes be an open mind, and be, it will show in your aura and your energy when you talk about it, when you're
Yeah.
talking about passion
Yeah.
and your purpose.
Yeah. 100%.
So that's the one of the limiting beliefs. But now I say, bring it on. I know who I am.
I love it.
Yeah, please talk to me about anything. I can talk from as simple as you want to talk about the wisdom, the spirituality, to the science. So I
Yeah.
can talk it all.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so that range has opened up big time for me, and
yeah.
I'm quite grateful for that.
That's so cool. I want to acknowledge really fast our audience right now. We have people watching us live. I so appreciate you being here, supporting us, and commenting while we're speaking. We always appreciate the support here at the Her Version community. Since we have a large audience here hanging out with us, Geeta, I'd love for you to tell us what you do. Obviously they're here, they're listening, they're intrigued, they're resonating with what you're saying. So give us a little rundown of what you do and what your business is and how you help humans.
Okay. So I would take an opportunity to say to thanks to all of them,
Yeah.
and now let's talk about the very logical part of it, the business. We talked all about kind of mind and everything, how it is came, the awareness. So the business, yes. So currently, I'm a certified um, and accredited from ICF. Uh, I'm a coach, and I've become coach of, one thing was the mindset, the success mind, because the mindset is very important, because I thought the people talk about the success, but how they relate to the success is very important. It's about your mindset,
Yeah.
because when you talk success, is like achieving a goal, a purpose, or an aim. It's simple. But when you talk about the mindset of yours, which is very important, you talk about the possibilities you're going to face while achieving that goal, purpose, or your aim.
Yeah.
And are you open to them or not? They could be bad and they could be good. So
Hmm.
the mindset is all about knowing yourself so completely, what I'm doing and why I'm doing. And even if I face the possibilities of failures into it, how am I looking at the failures about? And like I say, always say, the failure is a success in progress.
Ooh.
So when you're looking at a failure, it's not a failure. How you can come out of it, again, embrace it and move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
But a lot of us get stuck into that failure part of it, and they look at success, either it's black or white.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
failed in it. And so much so for the young community as well. Yeah, the young children. I was giving a workshop on young minds. I was telling them as well, don't have to feel bad, don't have to feel shame about it. If you failed into something, get up and look for something else. There's so many possibilities there. I
Exactly.
would love to share this with wide audience of yours. Look at success, as something is in your mindset and how you're going to be approaching in your future. The second, what I did was the strategic abundance mindset and set, and how you're so going to
Many
be approaching
my
in your future. Women clients, they have such big struggle with finances,
I see that a lot. I
and
had that growing up.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the way they look at finances is so much different. They have been wired in their brain to look at finances differently.
Yeah.
So I help them to navigate understanding of what finances are, and also understanding what abundance literally means to them. And once you open up the channel, the channel of abundance and finances, you can see so many things flowing towards you, not rather against you.
Yeah.
So people have a very, unfortunately, my like I had a client who was from Harvard School. She was a doctor from Harvard
Uh-huh.
law school, and she had such a big challenge with that. So once we opened up and once we tried to explain it to her what she was struggling with, the like limiting beliefs and what she was thinking, even after having that label to her, she was not being successful. So strategic abundance mindset is very important for every woman to understand.
Yeah.
Abundance does not mean literally money. Abundance again means a mindset.
Yeah. Definitely. I can see that 100%. I want to ask you had mentioned
Understand.
earlier, we were talking about success, and you were kind of mentioning your view, not necessarily your viewpoint, but how it integrated with what we were talking about. And I'd like to bring that up again, because people have different views of what success means. And I'd like to know what your viewpoint is on success. What does success mean to you?
Okay, sure. Before I do that, I just want to tell people that I'm an NLP practitioner as well. And of course, I'm an emotional intelligence certified. All these are certified coach as well. All right. So, success, yes, it's very interesting topic to me. When I picked up this, when I was doing my certifications, why I wanted to take it, because success for people is very external, like very commercial, very external. It's like when you see somebody getting what they want, any aim, purpose, or like I say, goal, they look at it like, okay, this is if you have achieved, you're successful,
Yeah.
right? So let's say somebody is, let's say, trying to get a job and they get a job that is successful and it stops there.
Hmm.
But what I was trying to get people more deeply into what a mindset means. Because once you achieve a mindset in your life of achieving any goal in any areas of your life, it could be relationship, career, finances, it could be anything what you're looking forward to, you'll be able to understand the science behind the mind, how it's operating. Because you would always find, if you don't have that mindset, something is lacking in your life, something like, oh, I'm a failure at this and I'm successful at this.
Yeah.
So you would always have that thin picture, between them. I can't do this, but I can do this, right? So success mindset gives you that possibilities to embrace, like to get out of that fixed mindset, and what do I mean by fixed mindset? Fixed mindset is something when you don't enjoy the process, you want to get to a destination, and
Yes.
you don't understand your own potential, you devalue yourself, hence your
Yeah.
self-worth, hence your value in the world.
Yeah.
That's your fixed mindset.
Yeah. That's good.
And then you are not self-aware of your patterns, which are limiting beliefs, and you keep repeating them one after another.
Yeah.
So these are all your fixed mindsets, and that leads to the stagnation and not giving you the fulfillment of the life what you're looking forward to. And on the other hand, the abundance, or like the open-mindedness, is something different. When not only you look at your self-worth, or you're adding value to the people's life, but you're adding value in a sense where there's a fulfillment. You are not struggling and labeling yourself, oh, I'm successful today, I'm failure today, I'm successful today, something. You are not putting so many labels to, because you know the possibilities, there could not be any failures there.
Yeah.
And if there are there, you are
Yeah.
embracing them in the
Yeah.
journey.
Definitely. It's
So
good.
it's very interesting. And like I tell people, like, how do you see that you're achieving your success a lot? So there are two actually points I talk about very, in, like, I would tell you in short. So one of the points which I really tell people is neuroplasticity. Again, I'm sorry, I'm using scientific language again, but it's very important for you to know, because unless I satisfy your logical mind, your creative mind would not come up so easily, and you will struggle there.
Yes.
I have
Okay.
to satisfy your logical mind right now.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And that's how it works, literally. And
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay. It works like that. So neuroplasticity is nothing. When you're doing new things, the neurons, your brain cells change accordingly. So whenever you have a new experience, your brain cells are changing. It's simple. So I would not put any more to it because I don't want people to get confused in details, right? The other one, how does that impact you? Let me tell you. When you were just 5 years old, Sabrina, right?
Mhm.
If I've told you, oh, Sabrina, please go and learn a new language, how would have you reacted? Tell me.
Oh, immediately I'd be stressed, irritated, frustrated, don't want to do it, not interested,
But I would say,
overwhelmed.
oh, I'll give you a candy, and how would you react?
If I would,
Like if I give you a candy or something which you like, or something, a toy, how would you react to it?
if if I was able to eat candy while I learned a new
Mhm,
language,
mhm,
I mean, it
mhm.
would make it a little more enjoyable.
Correct. Okay. That's interesting what you said. So let me tell you what I was trying to explain here. So when you're younger, like when you're below 7 years of your age, your mind is very impressionable. You can leave impressions on your mind.
Mhm.
And when I told you that you would enjoy candy along with it, you were like, go for it, have fun. So your
Mhm.
mind just you showed me a mind shift there.
Mhm.
Correct. So that's
Yeah.
how we are when we are young. And like what you told me earlier, you would be stressed. Probably that was your adult mind which was talking to me, because
Yes.
you were having implications of it. Oh, if I don't learn, if I don't clear it, if I don't do this, oh my gosh, I can't even learn this. So that was your adult mind.
Got it.
Make sense?
Yeah.
And the child is very open. They don't care for the repercussions of it. They just do it for the sake of
Got
it.
it.
Oh well,
Okay.
I'm getting my candy.
Makes
I'm
sense.
let me do.
Yeah.
Just and the child is very
That's
open.
interesting
They
that you're
don't care
saying
for
that
the
because when you
repercussions
first
of it. They
initially
just do it for
said
the sake
it,
of it.
the candy, I actually reverted to my younger self.
Yes.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to be excited about this because there's
Hmm.
candy involved." But then
Right.
I like overrode it with my
Correct.
adult mind and
Hmm.
said, "I still wouldn't really appreciate it, but yes."
Right.
So yeah,
But
I totally see where you're going with that.
and so
Definitely.
the candy was a trigger for you.
Yeah.
So as was the learning a new language. But
Okay.
when I said candy, you were able to revert back to your childhood
Yeah.
and become more, easy with it. Okay, let me do it.
Yeah.
But when you were operating from your adult mind, you had so many apprehensions towards it,
Yes. A
right?
lot.
A lot. So new
More than I was
it
letting
works like that. Yeah. And so this is how your mind operates. I was just giving you an example of it. The second point to that was deep sleep, like relaxation. When your mind or state of mind is in alpha state, when it's relaxed, you're able to do things which you have never thought of. When your mind is completely relaxed, you can fly, you can do whatever you want to do. You will not question yourself when you're relaxed.
Yeah.
You can sit on the beach, you can hear the waves, the white sound of the waves.
Mhm.
You can do anything you want to,
Yeah.
and then you're more receptive,
Yeah.
and which is also called as yog nidra, like if you talk about it from India. So if you're a completely relaxed person, and then comes to the law of repetition. So when you're trying to change something new, like you said, limiting beliefs to the other part of it, like trying to make empowering beliefs, you have to work on yourself so deeply. So I was just giving you an example how your mind can fluctuate between two states,
Definitely. I see that.
and then how you have to work with it
Mhm.
not to get deflected easily and stay on the track, and that you can do it with the law of repetition, which you have to keep repeating, so that whatever habit, whatever you're trying to learn, you stick to it for a longer period of time, and it is impacting your subconscious mind as well with different tools, like
Beautiful.
neuro-linguistic programming or something. So this was just a little demonstration how literally within a like fraction of seconds you were here and here, and how your two switches of your mind, adult and child,
Yeah.
triggering. And
Yeah.
I showed you the trigger as in the form of candy.
Yeah. It works.
Right. And
Definitely.
success, now just imagine the success.
Okay.
If you have not understood the part of the success and looking at the possibilities and then integrating all those parts of it, that you can fail as well. And you have to keep the momentum of it as well. And so many more. Like there's 7, 8 layers to it. which will keep you going self into intrinsic motivation and keep you moving forward, how all that can be integrated while working with such fragile mind which can fluctuate so easily.
Yeah,
So the mindset, you have to work definitely on your mindset.
definitely.
It's not the words, it's just what is behind those words are so powerful.
Yeah.
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 So does that explain success,
Yeah.
understanding success?
Yeah, that was good. That was so good.
Yeah, thank you.
I so appreciate you being here. I so appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us, hang out with us. I do want to ask one last question. The Her Version platform is based on uplifting, inspiring other women out there who are possibly going through some sort of struggle or some sort of darkness right now. And I would like to kind of ask some advice as far as women who are having trouble finding, embracing their authentic selves, who they are authentically supposed to be. And that struggle with, what we were talking about with you, with the money, like realizing like, hey, there's going to be some differences here financially, or maybe it's they're dealing with motherhood, to work or not to work, or stay home or not stay home. Um, and how does a woman go about moving more towards their authentic self? What would be some advice you'd have for that?
Okay. So I think when a woman literally decides that she is going to move towards her authentic self, and she would not let anything hinder, that process. But having said that, is not that easy. you know it's a very subtle statement, but a powerful one. Why? Because I would explain to you, when you decide, number one, you have to see what is your authentic sense means to you, literally.
Yeah.
For instance, my definition could be different from yours. We might have some commonalities,
Mm-hmm.
but it could be different. My circumstances, your circumstances are different to begin with.
Yeah.
Why I was drawn to it and why you were drawn to it were different.
Yeah.
So I think number one, you should be stop comparing as a woman. I'm just talking to women now.
Yeah.
If you seriously want to really understand these things, number one thing I would strongly advise to my clients and case studies as well, stop comparing yourself. And uniqueness, the authenticity, do you even understand what it is? Are you just understanding for the just for the namesake that I want to call you authentic because it's an inward? Like sometimes you have a conversations with your girlfriends and they just, oh, you're so authentic. That's so much in. Let me go and be authentic today.
Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I have seen, people doing that part of conversations as well. So please understand what does really authentic means to you. Now, are you operating authenticity as a human? Just sheer being your human, or you are seeing authenticity as other labels, like I'm a successful this, I'm this, I should have money, finances. So you have to understand where you are coming from, where how you are looking at authenticity, or
Yeah.
you're just saying, no, I need to be authentic. And the people who are literally authentic, Sabrina, as you and we know in our own communities, they are really authentic. Nobody changes them. No, nobody can even, and honestly, allure them into something, talking something else.
Yeah. You're right.
It's that authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, women are, like I said, the mind is so fragile. They pick on other people's programming so easily. So define your authenticity. Similarly, when you say success or a goal, define your success and your goals.
Yeah.
Don't define your neighbor's goals. I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, it's that personal. So if you're saying, I want to become an authentic, please analyze why you're saying this. And trust me, once you're in the zone of authenticity, you are into a very different zone of how you literally conduct yourself. Second step, I would strongly advise, just know what is your authenticity. Second would be, if you think that that's the part of you, is like, let's say if you're a singer or you're financially struggling and you want to embrace something, just go and do something which you have not done earlier.
Oh, okay.
So that you can able to break the wall of what is going on with you.
Yeah.
Like you said, strategic financing, when I teach people and do workshops. So finances, like, I do use the financial terms because I have to tell them how you take care of your daily needs as well, because you just don't go and, oh, one day I want to become entrepreneur, or one day I want to become something. You don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
There is strategy you have to follow. Similarly, for becoming authentic, you have to follow a similar strategy as well.
Yeah.
Defining your own authenticity, not keeping anybody else in mind, not something like, oh, I need to become like her, or I need to become like him, or whatever your inspirations are. So you have to be very clear about your inspirations too, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? And then after that, once you have done that, then you move on to the second step. And once you know that, okay, you are authentic enough and you are doing, and this is your definition, and now I'm going to be following it and trying it out, something which I have not done here, which should be in connection to your authenticity, by the way. Just don't do randomly things, never. Since you're becoming more strategic and understanding of yourself and your mind.
Yeah. Okay.
For instance, let's say if I want to be a singer, correct? And I think that's my authentic, and I had been singing, but I had not been doing it openly. Just try it out and see if you're relating to your authenticity or not, or it's just was a picked up programming for someone. Like I told you about my client who thought she loved traveling.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the third step would be, if you think that's what you're doing in the right direction, embrace it, like I said, and then get approval for yourself and start doing it. Don't wait for someone else to tell you, oh, you cook good food, or Sabrina, you are such a good speaker, or you're such a good motivator. Don't let the people come and tell you what you are and what you are not. So define your authenticity. Sit down and keep doing it for some days. I would say, when I give some exercises to my clients, I tell them it's not that easy the way it sounds. Just I'll be authentic today. Let me grab my kombucha and I'll talk about my You literally don't do that.
Yeah. Takes time.
You have to analyze it, assess it.
Yeah.
And dissect it.
Yeah.
How you have been doing it. Because there will be some proofs from your past that you had been doing it unconsciously. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you have to go much deeper about it.
Yeah. I appreciate you. And I'm sure they appreciate you not putting them in a box, because that's true.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Everyone's
You have to find your own box, literally, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And some people might be closer to being their real selves than other people. They might be right at the cusp of it, and other people might be real far away from it. I remember there was a time when I was very, very far away from, who I am supposed to be. And even still now, I don't know what my potential is.
Yep. You're still always learning more and more.
Always, and always evolving, and always stepping into something, and figuring out if it feels good, if it feels right to me. If not, I step out and step into something else. So I totally agree with that. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
That was great. Well, listen, for those of you that are listening live, we so appreciate you being here, hanging out with us. This was phenomenal. So much amazing information. I certainly hope that you got all that in, and possibly even taking notes. Definitely, I wish I would have been taking notes during some of that. I'll have to rewatch this. But absolutely amazing information. For those of you watching on the replay, who are coming in late and not going to be watching us live, make sure you hashtag replay so that we know that you were here, that you were listening, and so that we know where you were listening at. I want to thank you, Geeta, for being here and taking some time out of your day to share with us and share your journey, share your insight on all of the things that you've learned. I so appreciate your take on everything as far as the scientific take on things, because I think that will resonate with a certain select people who who think a little bit deeper thinkers. Mm-hmm. Those people are out there. Sometimes this stuff can get a little shallow with no real depth to it. So you really brought the depth to it. So I really appreciate that and that input. And I certainly hope that you will be with us again on more podcasts coming up to give your insight on that. I think that would be fantastic. So any closing thoughts?
Oh, well, thank you so much, Sabrina. I think this was wonderful. And I'm honored to be on your platform and talking to all the wonderful ladies and women who are looking for answers and who are looking for I don't want to use the rightful answers, but yes, some kind of answers, because when I use the word rightful, it literally means that your left and right both brains, because that's how it literally works. Because you don't end up being on the one side of it. So I'm humbled enough to be able to answer all your questions, and so much looking forward to if I'm invited again, and we can talk on so many topics.
Yes.
One by one in details, and so that we can elaborate on them and people can get some benefit out of it.
Yeah.
And to all your viewers, thank you so much for attending today's podcast. And you can always reach me on my website, which is geetadubey.com.
Yep.
And I'll be more than happy to share my journey, and of course, more than happy to share your journey and get you to a place where you want to be, because sometimes we do need someone. It's not that we can not do it by ourselves, but there is no harm in asking for help and learning and growing, because if you really want to evolve and grow, and like Sabrina says, personal growth, you have to have some kind of hand who can take you through that journey.
Yeah.
And, thank you so much. And like I said, have a success mindset always, and be very assertive, be balanced, and be very responsive to your situations. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. For those of you listening live, thank you for being here. This community is expanding every single day, and it's filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. If you have an amazing story to share, make sure you reach out to me personally or at herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others.